My Soulmate's a Slime by admay19 Walpurgis thingy. Elvin's rescue successful. The wizards could have gone back to Magnolia, but given the incredible persuading powers of a gooey but surprisingly cuddly slime in the name of Rimuru Tempest, they had tagged along the very next day, headed back to Tempest. Well, for starters, Nastu admitted he wanted to see the very nation that would no doubt be the home of his younger sisters in the future. Given that, Rimuru had turned it into a convincing spree till all wizards relented to his wishes. No excuses had worked, not even Makarov, who tried to talk to the slime through communication lacrima, explaining that the group were needed for another mission. The Tempest ruler simply smiled and talked all political about how he wants the wizards to be 100% on his side. With a little flex of what his nation can do in case Fairy Tail is need of assists, Makarov gave in and even allowed a bit of a long stay for them in Tempest. And that is how they had this road trip back to Tempest. Talking and digging in more in their newfound friendship as they journeyed, the wizards had now a deep inkling on what Tempest looks like and who resides in there. That is to be expected, but what they weren't prepared for is how the said nation is a force on its own. You see, it's just like Fairy Tail but bigger. Entering the forest of Jura, Rimuru became their personal tour guide explaining things and whatnots, but the forest itself is more interesting than what he's saying altogether. The slime had to stop at one point, seeing as the magicules around are filling in the wizard's origin, Raphael's words. Oh well, good to know their Ethernanos are as open for magicules. Everyone welcoming back their ruler is another thing, getting down on their knees with their head down. This king is a total big shot, they give him that. Back up a bit. The newcomers were introduced to the VIPs of the place, mainly the top-ranking ones. Not to mention Demon Lord Milam, who claims to be besties for resties with Rimuru and Ramirez, the pixie fairy. Yet even the duo were surprised at the amount of aura these wizards are surrounded with. Enter Veldora, the storm dragon. Oh, that was an unforgettable one. Everyone was shocked when the ever-mighty dragon actually cowered and hid behind Rimuru, upon making eye contact with Natsu and Wendy. Confused dragon slayers merely looked at one another, then back to the shaking dragon. They mean no harm, as they couldn't sense any malice from him, so why is he wimping all of a sudden? When asked about it, Veldora claims he sees two dragon spirits protecting the two of them. Fire Dragon, Igneal for Natsu, and Sky Dragon Grandina for Wendy. Rimuru, having heard that, asked Raphael to let him see what Veldora has trembled for. Granting his request, the king was overwhelmed for a while, studying the magnificent creatures that make up the Slayer's auras. The slime then asked Veldora why he got scared, when they were not even literally there, and the answer once again shocked him. Apparently, Natsu and Wendy has enough power to do much damage to him, and with these auras, it's clear they have brought down dragons to their demise. And the fact that they are dragon slayers alone is a big threat. But Natsu quickly clarifies, Veldora is a very powerful dragon to begin with, and fighting him would quickly overpower the two of them. As to how they got along after that, nobody knows. The day came to a close and they just found them talking like longtime friends. And so their stay in Tempest has officially opened as a new chapter of their wizard life, if that is even a way to put it. Darling, it's time to get up. It's past noon. Noir gently shook Maya by the shoulders. We need to get ready if you are to join us for Walpurgis this evening, The Queen of the Stars groans as she lazily stretched before opening her eyes. Good afternoon, sweetheart. Frown settled on Maya's lips but sat down nonetheless, stretching once more, followed by a small yawn. Noir can't help but chuckle, finding his soulmate really adorable. Meeting was held yesterday during dinner, and Rimuru told everyone about the personal summon of the Demon Lords for Walpurgis, an exclusive meet-up for the likes of them, to discuss matters and have lavish dinner at the end of it all. Xian was so ready to accompany her master again, given as she and Ranga were the ones to do so when Rimuru was first acknowledged as an official Demon Lord. Only to get disappointed. Rimuru had explained that he had an idea on what the meeting is all about this time, so he'd bring the Dragneel sisters along with Noir. They were given a special permission as they're the potential topic anyways. So, do I need to get all dolled up for this Walpurgis thingy or what? Maya asked, getting out of bed and finger-combing her hair. No need, Noir chuckles. But it's okay to throw in a bit of fashion, my dear. Maya threw open her walk-in closet, looking at the vast array of clothing Tempest and even her soulmate has given her. She sighed, frowning. There is one thing. She is bad at picking her own clothes to wear for the day. If it were jeans and t-shirts, she's an expert at that, but dresses? Nah. She heard a chuckle before a pair of arms hugged her from behind. Why don't you wash up and let me pick your clothes for you, You know you can trust my fashion sense, right? Ah, there's the smug tone, but in reality he actually has the actions to back it up. Yup. You're the man for the job. But take note, I don't like to get overdressed, she demanded. Noir smiles. Why is his soulmate really cute this day? Pressing his lips on her cheek, Maya finally smiled, feeling home in the arms of her very own man. There are times he is this affectionate, but most days? Hey. She'd very much want to throttle him for always annoying her. Gathered at the office of Rimuru, the small group attending were waiting for the usual door that would lead them to Walpurgis meeting place thingy. An open space under the stars is what Sheehan had described. So this Walpurgis, they pass down justice as well? Natsu asked and bit down on his cookie. Yeah. We do that too. It's where everyone witnessed my crowning as Demon Lord after all, but after I have ended the one who stirred trouble here in my nation. Ah, the Demon Lord Clayman. Based from the stories I heard, he is one nasty jerk who doesn't like getting his hands dirty and have all his subordinates act like puppets for him, Gray says with a scoff. We have come across people like him a lot on our missions. It is no surprising there are individuals power-hungry everywhere. Urza sipped her tea. Although I must admit, if these demon lords are all like him, it will throw this world off balance and we're not sure if we can survive such chaos. Rimuru looks down thinking. Urza has got a point. That is the very reason why he makes sure to always get on their good side in the first place. Then we'll bring them down. Whether or not they are demon lords, fairy tale never allows injustice to prevail. If they choose to be adversaries to humankind, or any other peaceful creatures, they'd get war on their hands, Maeva concludes sitting next to her soulmate. Yup. His soulmate just took the words out of his mouth. He made that very clear at Walpurgis. Although he trusts his friends there, this concern couldn't exactly be set aside. Pause. Are they even his friends to begin with? Well, besides Milam and Ramirez, he isn't actually close with the others. There's the Queen of the Vampires, Luminous, whose nation is also an ally to Tempest. Others like Leon and Guy have visited Tempest a few times, but he is not sure if he can actually call them his friends. Hope against hope, the peace would remain for many years to come. Otherwise, fights amongst them would surely end the very world they're protecting. Although it's just but a fancy title now if he is honest. So how long is this meeting gonna last anyway? Happy questions. Well, it could take all night, sometimes depending on the matter we'll discuss. And knowing them, they could take forever even if it's just deciding a name or whatever. Man. Talk about boring long meetings. Back in Alvarez, when I have to go to those so-called meetings, I'd rather fight with someone than sit and listen to royal discussions. Natsu complains, donning in his cookies. Yeah, that is very much you. Maya agrees quickly with a chuckle. Rimuru smiles, understanding the feeling. Though he is very much used to it now as he's the instigator for most meetings. It however faded quickly when the very same door that appears in their ticket to Walpurgis opened. That's your cue, Sheehan said just as Rain, one of Guy Crimson's attendants, walked in the room. Speaking of this guy, he is no other than the one who put Walpurgis together, and a primordial like that of Noir. It's good to see you again, Lord Rimuru, Lord Ramirez, and all who are their faithful allies. I have come to collect you. Rain bows, and the Tempest members were surprised when the Dragneel siblings stood up and bowed down as well. Normally, royalties don't bow to anyone, especially to maids, but here they are returning the same amount of respect, disregarding their ranks. Ramirez greeted the maid before she and her attendants walked to the other side of the door. It's time, Rimuru-sama. Rain gestures towards the not really likable door. Ah. Rimuru looked at his soulmate, who smoothed her dress as she stood up from her seat. Ready, love? Take my hand. He outstretched his hand towards her. The lady then placed her hand on his and he squeezed it in silent comfort, feeling her tensed quite a bit. Giving the back of her palm a quick peck, he gently pulled her towards the door, followed by Noir and Maya. Go show those demon lords what you've got, sisters. Call me when things go south, all right? Natsu smiles, giving them a small wave. They'd be fine. Besides, Rimuru and Noir are with them, Carla said, tapping Natsu's back. I know. And for sure Zarif-ni-san would appear uninvited if he feels those lords touched even the end of their hair, the prince say confidently, happy nodding in agreement. Maeva and Maya couldn't help but giggle at that. From one overprotective brother to another. Rimuru smirked, waving back just as they vanished through that hazy fog and the doors closing behind them. Ever since he joined Walpurgis, it's for the first time Rimuru had seen everyone present before him. Oftentimes, it's either him or Guy who'd have to wait, but now, every attention is on him and his small group. Just as he expected, they'd be the center of topic once more. Taking his usual seat, Guy smiled at him. Okay, that smile is reassuring as it's suspicious. While Milam got up from her seat and moved to where the sisters are greeting them happily. Maya placed the promised hair ornament made at Alvarez on the energetic demon lord's hair. Just relax, okay? If anything happens I'll smack them for you, Milam declares before going back. Guy on the other hand looked Noir up and down, with his arms crossed. The latter raised an eyebrow before scoffing at him. When the demon peer noticed the eyes of his friend and no other than his soulmate, he moved quickly blocking her from sight and earning an amused smirk from Guy. Noir motioned a neck slice before pointing at him and that made the other chuckle. Maeva on the other hand passed them confused looks wondering why they were acting like longtime friends. Wait, is this Guy a primordial too? Correct. Guy Crimson the Red Primordial and Noir's longtime adversary and friend. Raphael's sudden voice in her head made her jolt. What in the world? How come she is hearing this AI? She looked towards Rimuru who was simply drinking his tea adding more to her confusion. Did he not hear her? Raphael-san. She tested the waters. Yes. Oh man. She is really speaking to her. How come you are speaking to me directly? Can't Rimuru hear you? Not at the moment. As to how I can speak to you like I can to my master, it's because of your shared generated skills you both acquired when you soulmated. Ah, that is right. She first heard her voice when she was marked and now, wow. This feels cool. So can you talk to us at the same time? Yes I can. That or talking to either of you privately. Oh, that comes in handy. Thanks Raphael. My pleasure, my lady. After a few more greetings, Guy finally stood up and started the meeting but not after Rain introduced everyone on board.